2 years ago, a research team in Germany did something most oncologists would consider impossible. They took one of the most aggressive forms of cancer, pancreatic cancer, the kind that kills 95% of patients within 5 years, and they exposed those cancer cells to a single compound extracted from a seed. Not a pharmaceutical, not a synthetic molecule built in a lab, a compound that has existed in nature for longer than modern medicine itself. Within 48 hours, 98% of those cancer cells were dead. The healthy cells, untouched. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what that compound is, where it comes from, how to get it for less than $2 a week, and why, in nearly 3 decades of practicing medicine, this is one of the most astonishing things I've ever reviewed in the scientific literature. Before I say another word, I want to address what you're probably thinking. 98% sounds like clickbait. I understand that reaction completely. I had the same one the first time I encountered this data. But here's the difference between a claim and evidence. A claim is something someone says to sell you something. Evidence is a study published in a peer-reviewed oncology journal conducted at an accredited research institution measuring actual cancer cell death using flow cytometry, the same laboratory standard used in major cancer hospitals worldwide. What I'm going to walk you through today is not a wellness trend. It's not a testimonial. It's a growing body of research that has quietly accumulated over the last 2 decades and is now impossible for serious scientists to ignore. The only question worth asking is this: why hasn't your doctor mentioned it? That answer will become clear by the end of this video. Now, before I go any further into the science, I want to pause for exactly 30 seconds. Because what I found in that German research report didn't stop at one seed, or one compound, or one mechanism. It opened a door I've spent years walking through. And everything on the other side of that door, everything that doesn't fit into a 15-minute video, I've put into 2 guides that I want you to have. The first one is called Cellular Freedom. This is the complete cellular defense protocol, every compound we're covering today, and 7 others that work alongside it, with exact therapeutic doses, the specific sourcing criteria that actually matters, and a full 90-day implementation map you can start on day 1. The same research-backed system I use with patients who come to me after a diagnosis and ask, what do I actually do? Scan the QR code on the left side of your screen right now to get it. It's available immediately the moment you scan. You don't have to search for it later. You don't have to remember it. It's there. The second one is for the people watching this not just because of cancer, but because you looked in the mirror and decided that the way your body is aging right now is not acceptable. That you want your energy back, your metabolism back, your cellular clock moving in the other direction. That guide is called the 21-Day Metabolic Reversal Protocol. It takes the exact biology we are about to unpack, the SIRT1 longevity pathway, the inflammation shutdown, the aging reversal mechanisms, and turns it into a precise, day-by-day action plan. What to eat, when to eat it, which compounds to combine, and exactly what changes to expect in the first 3 weeks. Scan the QR code on the right side of your screen to get that one. Both guides, both codes, on screen right now. Scan while the video plays. It takes 5 seconds. And then stay with me, because what comes next in this video is the science that explains why both of those protocols work. And it starts with a seed that has been hiding in plain sight for 5,000 years. Hi, I'm Dr. Leana. I've spent nearly 28 years in clinical medicine, first in internal medicine, then increasingly focused on integrative oncology and longevity research. In that time, I've watched remarkable things happen when people take the science of nutrition seriously. But I'll be honest with you, for most of my career, I was skeptical of natural compounds when it came to cancer. I was trained in a system that prioritized pharmaceuticals, peer-reviewed or not. Anything from a seed or a plant felt to many of my colleagues like folklore. Then I started reading the data. Not health blogs, not wellness sites, actual indexed studies, PubMed citations, randomized controlled trials. This seed has been used medicinally for over 5,000 years. It's mentioned in ancient Egyptian texts. It was found preserved inside the tomb of Tutankhamun, apparently important enough that the pharaoh's priests wanted it in the afterlife. The Prophet Muhammad described it as a cure for every disease except death. Medieval Islamic physicians documented its use for respiratory conditions, inflammation, and cellular repair centuries before we had the vocabulary to explain why it worked. Today, it goes by several names. You might know it as black cumin or black caraway. Some call it kalonji. Its scientific name is Nigella sativa. And the molecule inside it, the one that those German researchers watched eliminate 98% of pancreatic cancer cells in 48 hours, is called Thymoquinone. This is 1 spoon of black seed oil or ground black seeds. And what happens when you consume it daily is something that modern oncology is just beginning to fully appreciate. Before we go into the science, I want to briefly address the room. If this compound is this powerful, why isn't it in every oncologist's protocol? The answer isn't a conspiracy. It's economics mixed with institutional inertia. Drug development in the United States costs on average $2.6 billion to bring a single pharmaceutical to market. That investment only makes sense if the resulting drug can be patented, meaning the company that funded development owns exclusive rights to sell it. You cannot patent a seed that has existed for 5,000 years. There is no financial incentive to fund the phase 3 clinical trials that would elevate thymoquinone to standard of care status. That doesn't make the existing research less real. It means the system isn't designed to fund it. What we have instead is a rich body of in vitro studies, animal trials, and emerging human research, all pointing in the same direction. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that research says. Before I go further, one small thing. A lot of people find this channel when they're searching for answers, for themselves, for a parent, for someone they love who is navigating a health challenge. If that's you, I want you to know you're in the right place. If the information in my videos has been useful, the single biggest thing you can do to help others find it is to tap subscribe. It's free, it takes 1 second, and it's how YouTube decides whether to show this content to people who are actively searching for it right now. If you've been watching for a while without subscribing, now's a good moment to change that. Okay, let's get into the science. Here's what's extraordinary about Nigella sativa from a scientific standpoint. We don't just have modern evidence. We have corroborated historical evidence, which is extremely rare in nutrition research. When ancient physicians documented black seed's effects on inflammation, immune function, and cellular regeneration, they were describing outcomes they observed in patients. They didn't know why it worked, they just knew it did. Modern science has now caught up to the why. Think of thymoquinone as a master switch. Unlike most pharmaceutical compounds that target a single pathway, a single lock in a single door, thymoquinone operates at multiple levels simultaneously. It engages with your cells the way a skilled conductor engages with an orchestra, not forcing one instrument louder, but bringing the entire biological system back into coherent function. The reason this matters is that cancer and aging are not single pathway problems. Cancer arises when multiple systems fail at once: DNA repair, immune surveillance, cellular communication. Aging accelerates when multiple systems deteriorate simultaneously. Oxidative stress increases, inflammation becomes chronic, repair mechanisms slow down. A compound that operates across all of these systems simultaneously is not just unusual, it is, from a pharmacological perspective, almost unprecedented in nature. And here's something that no pharmaceutical company wants you to sit with. Thymoquinone has been studied against over 40 different cancer cell lines, including breast, colon, lung, prostate, cervical, and pancreatic. And in each case, it demonstrated the ability to target and eliminate cancer cells while selectively sparing healthy tissue. Let that land for a moment. Mechanism 1, the self-destruct signal. Every cell in your body has a built-in self-destruct sequence. Scientists call it apoptosis, programmed cell death. Think of it like a failsafe in a building's electrical system. If a wire shorts and starts a fire, there's an automatic shutdown that cuts power to that section before it spreads to the whole building. In healthy cells, this failsafe works perfectly. When a cell accumulates too much DNA damage to function properly, it activates apoptosis, dismantles itself cleanly, and its components are recycled. Cancer cells have figured out how to disable this failsafe. They overexpress a protein called BCL2, which essentially acts as a lock jammed in the off position. The self-destruct sequence can't activate. The cell survives when it shouldn't. It replicates, it accumulates, it becomes a tumor. Here is what Thymoquinone does. It directly suppresses BCL2 expression. It removes the jam from the lock. And then it activates a cascade of proteins, including caspase 3 and caspase 9, which are the primary executioner proteins in apoptosis, essentially forcing the cancer cell to do what it was always supposed to do, dismantle itself. This is why those German researchers saw 98% cancer cell death. They weren't watching Thymoquinone attack cancer cells from the outside. They were watching it restore the cell's own self-destruction sequence from the inside. The healthy cells in the same dish, they still had their BCL2 functioning normally. Thymoquinone had nothing to jam open. Those cells were untouched. Mechanism 2, cutting off the supply lines. A tumor cannot grow beyond the size of a grain of sand without doing one thing first. It has to recruit a blood supply. Because without blood vessels delivering oxygen and nutrients, cells, even cancerous ones, cannot multiply fast enough to form a detectable mass. The tumor sits dormant, microscopic, essentially harmless. The process by which tumors recruit those blood vessels is called angiogenesis, and it's one of the most critical vulnerabilities in cancer biology. Tumors do this by releasing a chemical signal called VEGF, vascular endothelial growth factor. It's essentially a distress flare that says to nearby blood vessels, grow toward me, feed me. Once blood vessels reach the tumor, the growth rate changes dramatically. What was a microscopic cluster of cells can multiply thousands of times over in a matter of weeks. Thymoquinone suppresses VEGF production. It intercepts that distress flare before it can be sent. Without the recruitment signal, blood vessels don't grow toward the tumor. The tumor can't get its supply lines. It starves. Research from King Abdulaziz University demonstrated this pathway directly, measuring VEGF levels in cancer cell cultures before and after Thymoquinone exposure, and documenting significant suppression across multiple cancer types. This is the mechanism that makes blackseed particularly relevant, not just as a treatment adjunct, but as a prevention strategy, because it targets the process that allows microscopic dormant tumor cells to become something dangerous. Now, here's what most cancer discussions miss entirely. The same biological systems Thymoquinone targets in cancer, chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, cellular dysfunction, are the primary drivers of aging itself. This is not a coincidence. Cancer and accelerated aging are deeply related. They share the same root environment, a body under chronic oxidative stress with elevated inflammatory signaling and declining cellular repair capacity. Address those root systems, and you affect both. Here's how Thymoquinone interacts with the three primary aging mechanisms. First, NF-kappa B suppression, turning down the aging accelerant. NF-kappa B is a master inflammatory switch inside your cells. When chronically activated by poor diet, stress, toxin exposure, aging itself, it creates a state researchers now call inflammaging, low-grade systemic inflammation that drives tissue breakdown, cognitive decline, joint deterioration, and cellular aging simultaneously. Thymoquinone is one of the most potent natural NF-kappa B inhibitors identified in the scientific literature. When it enters your cells, it dampens this master switch, reducing the inflammatory cascade without suppressing the acute immune responses your body still needs. Second, SIRT1 activation, the longevity pathway. SIRT1 is what scientists call a longevity gene. It's the same pathway activated by caloric restriction, which is currently the most consistent life extension intervention in animal research. When SIRT1 is active, it triggers cellular cleanup, improves metabolic efficiency, supports DNA repair, and measurably slows the aging process at a cellular level. Thymoquinone has been shown to upregulate SIRT1 expression, essentially mimicking, at a molecular level, some of the biological effects of fasting and caloric restriction, without fasting. Third, oxidative stress reduction, protecting the cellular blueprint. Every cell in your body contains a copy of your DNA, your biological blueprint. Every time a cell divides, that blueprint gets photocopied. Now, imagine photocopying a document thousands of times. Errors accumulate. The copy of a copy of a copy starts to look different from the original. Oxidative stress accelerates this copying error rate. Free radicals, unstable molecules produced by metabolism, stress, and environmental toxins, damage DNA before it can be replicated accurately. Thymoquinone is a powerful antioxidant, but unlike vitamin C or vitamin E, which mop up free radicals after they're produced, thymoquinone also upregulates your body's internal antioxidant production systems, specifically superoxide dismutase and catalase. It's not just fighting the fire, it's reinforcing the fireproof structure. Taken together, less inflammation, more longevity signaling, better DNA preservation. This is what reversing aging means at a cellular level, not turning back time, restoring the rate of deterioration to something your biology was designed for. Let me now walk you through the specific research so you have something you can look up yourself. Study 1, Jefferson University, Philadelphia. Researchers exposed pancreatic cancer cells to thymoquinone. Pancreatic cancer is notoriously resistant to chemotherapy, one of the hardest cancers to treat. In this study, thymoquinone demonstrated selective toxicity against those cancer cells while leaving surrounding normal tissue unaffected. The mechanism measured was direct apoptosis induction through caspase pathway activation. This study was published in Pancreas, a peer-reviewed journal. Study 2, University of Mississippi Medical Center. An analysis of thymoquinone across multiple cancer cell lines found significant anti-proliferative activity, meaning cancer cells stopped replicating, at doses achievable through dietary supplementation with black seed oil. The study used flow cytometry to measure actual cell death, not just growth inhibition. Study 3, Karolinska Institute, Sweden. Researchers examined thymoquinone's effect on NF-kappa B inflammatory pathways in age-related cellular models. Significant suppression of inflammatory markers was documented, alongside measurable improvements in cellular autophagy, the body's internal cleanup system that declines dramatically with age. Study 4, Cairo University. In a human trial involving 144 participants with metabolic syndrome, a condition strongly associated with accelerated aging, daily black seed supplementation over 12 weeks produced significant reductions in oxidative stress markers, inflammatory cytokines, and fasting blood glucose, all measured through standard laboratory assays. The research is real. The measurements are quantifiable. The results are consistent across independent research institutions on multiple continents. Now, let's talk about what you actually do with this. There are two primary forms of Nigella sativa worth knowing about. Form 1, black seed oil. This is the most concentrated and most studied form. Cold-pressed black seed oil contains the highest density of thymoquinone per dose. Dose: 1 teaspoon, approximately 5 milliliters daily. Timing: take it in the morning with your first meal, not on an empty stomach. Some people experience mild digestive sensitivity if taken fasting. How? Some people take it straight. Many find the flavor, which is sharp, slightly bitter, similar to a peppery oregano, easier when mixed into plain yogurt, stirred into a smoothie, or blended with raw honey, which also has synergistic anti-inflammatory effects.
What to look for on the label? Cold pressed, unrefined, first press only. The moment black seed oil is heated during processing, thymoquinone degrades significantly. The oil should be dark amber to dark green. If it's clear or pale yellow, it has been refined. Put it down. Storage. Keep refrigerated after opening. Oxidation is the enemy. Use within 60 days of opening. Form 2. Ground black seeds, whole seed. If you prefer whole food over extracted oil, freshly ground black seeds are your answer. Less concentrated, but still effective, and easier for some people to incorporate into cooking. Dose: 1 level teaspoon of freshly ground seeds. How? Grind in a small spice or coffee grinder. Add to warm water with lemon. Sprinkle on salads. Stir into oatmeal, or press into bread dough. Avoid sustained high heat. Baking is fine. Frying at high temperatures is not. Note: whole, unground seeds pass largely undigested. You must grind them to access thymoquinone. This is critical. One important timing note: consistency over any single large dose. 1 teaspoon daily for 90 days produces measurable biological change. Sporadic high doses do not. Here's what my research has led me to recommend to patients who want to maximize what black seed can do. Pairing number 1. Black seed plus raw honey. This is not tradition for tradition's sake. Raw honey contains hydrogen peroxide and methyl glyoxal, both of which have documented antibacterial and anti-tumor environment effects. More importantly, honey's natural sugars improve oral bioavailability of thymoquinone by slowing gastric transit and improving mucosal absorption. Mix 1 teaspoon of black seed oil with 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered honey. Take in the morning. Pairing number 2, black seed plus black pepper. Piperine, the active compound in black pepper, is one of the most powerful bioavailability enhancers in nutrition. The same mechanism that makes piperine amplify curcumin absorption by 2,000% appears to improve thymoquinone uptake as well. A small pinch of freshly cracked black pepper with your black seed dose costs nothing. Pairing number 3, black seed plus green tea. Both thymoquinone and EGCG, the primary catechin in green tea, operate on the NF-kappa B inflammatory pathway. Combined, they appear to work synergistically, not just additively. Brew green tea at 175 degrees Fahrenheit, not boiling, which degrades catechins, and take your black seed dose alongside it. No dairy-based milk in the tea. Casein proteins bind catechins and reduce absorption dramatically. I believe in giving you the complete picture, and that includes this. If you are currently undergoing chemotherapy or radiation, do not add black seed oil to your protocol without speaking to your oncologist first. Thymoquinone is a potent compound that can interact with certain chemotherapy agents, in some cases potentially enhancing them, in others potentially affecting drug metabolism through liver enzyme pathways. Your oncologist needs to know. If you take blood thinning medication, warfarin, aspirin therapy, clopidogrel, black seed oil has mild anticoagulant properties. Again, not dangerous at food doses for most people, but something your prescribing physician should be aware of. If you are pregnant, avoid black seed oil. Historical evidence, corroborated by modern research, indicates that thymoquinone can stimulate uterine contractions at significant doses. Whole seeds used lightly in cooking are generally considered safe. Therapeutic oil doses are not. Everyone else, at 1 teaspoon daily, the risk profile of cold-pressed black seed oil is extraordinarily low. Thousands of years of documented use and decades of modern safety research support this. But as with anything that operates on your biology at a cellular level, inform your physician. You deserve a doctor who is a partner in your decisions, not an obstacle.
Here's the conversation I have with every patient who comes to me feeling like their body has already decided their fate. Cancer runs in my family. Aging is just what happens. My numbers are getting worse, and there's nothing I can do. And I tell them what I'm going to tell you right now. Biology is not destiny. Biology is a conversation. Every single day, you are sending messages to your cells through what you eat, how you move, how you sleep, what you expose yourself to. Your cells are listening. They are responding. The research on Thymoquinone is not magical thinking. It is evidence that your body has built-in defenses against cancer, against accelerated aging, against cellular breakdown, and that specific natural compounds can restore and amplify those defenses. You don't need to wait for a diagnosis. You don't need to wait for symptoms. You don't need to wait for medicine to catch up to what the science already shows. 1 teaspoon every morning. The patients I see who age the most gracefully, who maintain their vitality, who don't become statistics, they are not people with perfect genetics or unlimited access to expensive medical interventions. They are people who understood one thing, that small, consistent, biologically intelligent choices compound over time into an entirely different future. That future is available to you, starting today. Before you go, 2 things. If someone you love is navigating a cancer diagnosis right now, or if you've watched someone age faster than they should have and felt helpless about it, share this video with them. Not because I said so, because the information in it is real, it's free, and access to it might change their trajectory. And if this kind of deep, science-first health information is what you're looking for, I have a library of it. The next video I'd point you to is on the foods that directly block the cancer-feeding mechanism we discussed today, specifically the anti-angiogenesis compounds that starve tumors before they can establish a blood supply. It's waiting for you when you're ready. Stay curious, stay consistent. I'll see you in the next one.